told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, the podcast where we talk about the show Married at First Sight. Today we'll be covering Season 16, Episode 20, Decision Day, Part 1.95. I am one of your hosts, Jason Reed, and with me wait a minute, hold on. I forgot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got one more. Hold on. Show me how good today can be. Show me how good today can be. Sorry, y'all. I missed my fifth hug of the day before I came on the show. I just had to knock it out before we started the whole show, just to get myself in the right mindset. Because that's how you're successful. You got to tell yourself, you got to hug yourself 5 times a day to show you love yourself, and tell yourself, show how good today can be. So I got that out of the way. I am Jason Reed. With me is my co-host Aysha Welch. Aysha, how's it going?
Hey, Jason, I'm doing really well. I really enjoy coming onto this podcast every week because, every week of every year since, a few seasons ago. But every time I come on, it's always like biscuits and gravy. I'm so glad that we can play so well in the sandbox together. And, sometimes I feel like we just stumble onto jokes, and then sometimes we'll get past something. I'm like, we missed it. But, it's always easy to pick the lottery numbers the next day. So,
yeah, that old gem of a saying.
Right. I was like, what is Clint on? What is with these sayings?
That's Clint, man. That's his thing. He pulls them out of his like dad joke bag. Does any of these old sayings that, we're not even sure if anyone ever says them anymore.
Right. He's like, you never brush your teeth twice in a morning, So I was like, when Clint says it, I guarantee I've never heard it before somewhere else.
I feel like at least once a day, Clint says something like, well, a broke clock is right. Well, twice a day. I feel like that's something he says every day for some reason.
I had to say that about Chappelle when we were in Toronto.
Oh, no.
It's like a broken clock is right twice a day. I can't even remember what context because he's Chappelle.
Knowing Chappelle, it does not surprise me.
Right. But yes, we are here to talk about Decision Day, where we got 3 of the 4 couples' decisions, 3.5 of the 4 couples' decisions.
Why did they do this? Why was this a thing? So, they said, okay, we're going to do Decision Day Part 1. And we're only gonna get 3 couples like full answer. I was like, okay, so hour and a half episode. They're gonna do 30 minutes per couple.
That's what I was thinking.
We get to hour and 34 minutes, and Clint and Gina still haven't both made a decision. Like, oh wait, is this going to 2 hours?
Yeah.
Are we gonna see what are we gonna see here in this last 30 minutes? What has happened? I freaked out. I was like, what is this 2 hours again? What happened? Did we go back in time?
They didn't let anybody know. What if I had planned my night for just an hour and a half?
Right.
I would have missed the last 30 minutes.
I said, what? And then they went into Kirsten and Shaq's decision. I was like, I think they'll leave us on a cliffhanger here. Like, just not even give us the answers. Then we got Kirsten's answer. Like, are they really just going to have us come to the next episode waiting for one answer from one person and then go on with the rest of the episode? That is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, they have to have a reason to bring us back for the next 7 episodes. So if y'all didn't know, a little housekeeping up front, we have 7 more episodes this season. We are on episode 20. That's what episode we're discussing. And just to give you, or no, not 7. 7 more episodes, like including this one.
Yeah. I think, is it 7 including this one?
Yeah. So this is Decision Day Part 1. May 24th, we have the final decision, which is Decision Day Part 2. Then on May 31st, we have first dates and swapping mates. And this is where I'm assuming we may see Clint kiss Dom. Not sure. Then June 7th, we have Last Call for Music City. June 14th, we have Cast Tell All, and it's from people from the previous season, previous seasons.
Who asked for that?
Didn't you sign that letter I wrote them asking them, please give us as many episodes as possible?
But what does this mean, though? It says Cast Tell All previous seasons.
Yeah.
What? What are they telling all? They weren't there. What are they telling all?
Don't you want to hear a tell all? And then we got June 21st, reunion part 1, and June 28th. Yes, y'all, more than a month from today, reunion part 2. And that's where this season will conclude. We think they might surprise us with more from Music City.
By the time it's all over, we will have covered this show for 6 months.
Yeah.
Half a year, y'all. 6 months for one season. One season that has a timeline of 2 months. It took us triple that time to cover the whole season.
The actual experiment is 8 weeks. 2 months.
That's what I just said.
I know. I'm trying to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
How can we do the math here? 2 months, 6 months, 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 times. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to. That's basically what you just said. But I'm just trying to make sense of it. Like,
it doesn't make sense. You can't make sense of it.
Yeah, you're right. That will hurt my brain trying to make sense of it.
Why do we need 3 episodes of post decision day? I don't understand how much.
That's been the gap this whole time. Is not getting after decision day.
How much material can they cover in those? What is it going to be? 4.5 hours that we need to know.
I don't know how next week is even an hour and a half.
I don't know. And it's going to be like the Where Are They Now special, right? This is going to be produced in that same vein where a lot of it is going to feel very scripted and very, contrived.
Maybe it won't. Maybe because they're doing it differently, it won't feel as scripted, because in past seasons, we've seen the Where Are They Now after the reunion. Right. Now the reunion is the pin in it. So we don't have to worry about, last week on the reunion, blah, 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 and worry about the timeline. I do think that this is more accurate, that we can get a post-decision day before the reunion, and the reunion is the final stamp. However, maybe the reunion will be really good. Like, imagine the reunion with Clint and Dom sitting next to each other because they're like 6 months into a relationship.
Oh gosh, yeah, there's gonna be a lot more context for the reunion to know how they felt about things after decision day, I guess. But I could do with 1 episode of that. Give me 1 episode of post decision day, and then give me the 2 reunions.
Why do 1 when you could do 3?
I guess that's their mindset. Lifetime, like, they're like, we got nothing else going on. All we have is Married at First Sight. Let's just pack it full of, pack the schedule full of Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight, everything, everywhere, every continent, every country. Let's do it.
Look, if they announce Married at First Sight Denver season 17 starts in July, I'm going off the grid for at least a week.
I think that's what you're going to probably have to do. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 2-week break that we get again, because I feel like that's what we got last time, wasn't it? No, last time we got like a month break.
Yeah, last time we got a month, which I was surprised about. It was like end of November, and then they started in January. I was like, okay, I get my Thursdays back.
And I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we get to a spot where 90 Day Fiance is, because 90 Day Fiance just ends one of their franchises and rolls right into the next one the week after. I would be surprised if we ever got there. And
at least those are different franchises. This is the same show.
The same show.
Yeah. But yes, make sure. So yes, we just want y'all to be aware. We will be here for 6 more weeks talking about this show. So buckle up. And we know a lot of you are not watching anymore. So you listen so that you can stay up to date.
I mean, like, but at least the preview for the decision day, the post decision day episodes were pretty good. I would say there's
Hmm.
some good juicy stuff in there. So hopefully we can have a lot more. We can have a little variety because it felt like we were getting really formulaic as we'd like to get to in the in the dog days of Married at First Sight. So hopefully this will bring some new energy and some new zest in the post
Yes.
decision day episodes.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. But in order to get these podcasts, make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. That's where you can get all of these podcasts. Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, which The Ultimatum Career Love does premiere on May 24th. So stay tuned for coverage of that. And Perfect Match. So make sure you go subscribe to that feed. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel so you can get all of these video podcasts, and they are nicely filed in the podcast section. If you want to go back and watch each of the episodes from this season, make sure you leave us a 5-star review, a 5-star rating, and a review, and we will shout it out. So this week we want to shout out Bridget Cunningham. This titled "The Ultimate Slay." It says, Asia and Jason are the most fun thing about MAFS for real. This is my favorite podcast of the week. It's just so consistently hilarious and always comes out at the perfect time to kick off the weekend. No one is doing it like them. Wow.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That is right. I mean, no lies detected at all. Thank you so
Love
much,
it, Bridget. Thank you
Love
so
it.
much.
Special shout out to Burr One and T. We talked about
Brian.
Brian T last episode with the 5-star review that came in at I think it was 1 star. Looked like we had a little bit of a finger slip. Brian, thank you so much for fixing that. It's back to 5 stars now. Really appreciate it. Now we got another one, folks. We got another one. This one from MKG Marissa G. It's entitled "A Must Listen, Run, Don't Walk." It says MAFS needs to sponsor Asia and Jason because they are the only reason I watch the show. Clip that, send it to Lifetime. Fun fact, Asia and Jason are so entertaining that last season I listened to their recaps without watching one episode of the show. Now, that sounds like a 5-star review to me. But we're only at 4 stars. I think your finger might have slipped, Marissa. No problem. I think Apple has some sort of issue with how you can rate their podcast episodes, but
Yeah.
if you can, just try and get it back to that. Give us that 1 star back. We would appreciate it.
Yeah, like I remember this. So I remember MKG Marissa G posting before with that same title, but I don't remember that being the subject. So if you did repost it, Marissa, thank you so much. With the nice fun fact. But yes, we would love it to be a 5-star review. If you can.
Yeah.
So also make sure you go join our Facebook group. It is titled A Perfect Match Podcast. You can look that up on Facebook. We have a great time in there talking about the episode. You never know who will be in there. Just saying. So make sure you join our Facebook group. And this week, the password is
show me how good today can be. Just really giving you all an inspirational message to really get your day started. Facebook, just show me. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine being in the bed with my wife and she just talking to herself. Show me how good today can be. What'd you say? Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. Like, is she planning to murder me in my sleep? Like, what's happening?
Today could be the best day ever if things work out the way they're supposed to.
I guess. Yeah, so show me how good today can be. Is our Facebook password this week. Come on in. We like Asia said, we have a whole lot of fun in there talking about all different facets of the show. We had a poll in there about what the predictions are going to be. Maybe we can as we go along, we can see if the listeners,
how those turned out.
Yeah, if the listeners were dead on or what was happening there.
All right, let's get started. We can just kick it off how the episode did.
Yeah, we're going to start with Eris and Jasmine. We come in and he is packing his stuff to leave because, I mean, as is customary, one of the people has to leave, for the night so they can really
the man
has to leave so they can really, so both people can really think it over about what they want to do. Eris says, wow, man, what's Duchess going to do when I'm gone? Jasmine looks at Duchess. Duchess, yeah, what are you going to do when Eris is gone? Duchess, with the right attitude with this, just sitting there like, I don't care. You can go.
She's like, I'm gonna be
I
good.
am unbothered. Unlike the other doggo in this show, Duchess, I don't think is really gonna mind too much if Eris departs.
That, you know what? Now that you say the other doggo, because Nicole and Chris also have dogs.
Yeah.
So that is why Kirsten and Shaq's house seems so boring. I feel like there's no life in there, and they are the only house that doesn't have a dog.
So it's your contention that if a house doesn't have a dog, that it's listless, no fun, boring. Wow. I wonder who here doesn't have a dog in their house and what you're trying to say about their household. I wonder. Okay,
If you're feeling that way,
I
that's
see
on
you.
you.
I'm not feeling that way. That's what
saying
you
that.
said. That's what you
not
said.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying when my dogs are not home, it feels like, all right, now what?
You felt like Nicole without Chris.
Yeah, they went to the groomer earlier today, and I was like, dang, it really is quiet in here. I had to turn on a podcast. And then when I got the call from the groomer, I was like,
I'm on my way.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be right there.
I'm surprised you to stay at the groomer holding their hand as the groomer's like cutting their hair or something. Like,
I would if I could.
Pepper. You're such a good dog.
Who talks like that?
I wonder pre-show and post-show who talks like that to dogs. Who could ever know?
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Jasmine does say she's not used to not having him there. She's gonna miss him, but it's good to have time apart to figure out what they're gonna do. She says, if she says yes, it's going to be because they have fun together, and it could grow from there, and they have fun for the rest of their lives. On his part, in his confession, he says, we do have a really solid foundation, and to her, he says, I know married people that really hate each other, but I couldn't really ever see a place where we end up hating each other. Even though this was difficult, they both grew from this.
And to that, Eris, I will say what's that saying that like love and hate take the same amount of emotion? It's like love and hate are like parallels.
It's a thin line between love and hate.
Right. Yeah, that's the saying I'm looking for.
Oh boy.
There is a thin line between love and hate. They take the same type of emotion and care. That's why y'all don't hate each other, because
you don't care.
You don't care.
You don't care enough to hate each other.
Right.
She tells him, the experts really opened my eyes to a new way of intimacy and made her think about different scenarios to how it could go after decision day. Jasmine, are you taking Eris's you're taking his shtick about the new ways of intimacy? I've seen intimacy in a new way.
Yeah,
everything is
if
intimacy.
We heard the experts have redefined intimacy for us one more time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a new buzzword for the Married at First Sight, almost as big as power couple.
Right.
Eris says, the experts, they know what they're doing. If they didn't see anything with us, they would tell us that, we wouldn't be able to work as husband and wife. I said,
no, they would not.
No, they wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't. They would let y'all keep going because they want that yes from y'all. They would not tell you. They would not tell you to give it up. Exhibit
A, Chris and Paige from Atlanta season 12. The experts should have been told them this is not gonna work, but they're
maybe it can work. Maybe you can work it out.
Maybe we can talk.
No, Exhibit B, Clint Gina from this season.
Literally, yes.
They didn't tell them to wrap it up the other week. We'll see y'all on decision day. I know you just basically said y'all hate each other, but we'll see y'all on decision day in a few days.
We literally could go down the list. Mitch and Kirsten.
Yep.
It's just they will they want yeses.
Yeah, they want to beat this dead horse until you submit and say that you love the other person.
Yes.
In a confessional, he says, if he says yes, he's saying yes to staying committed. Says they're in a good place, but the dilemma is whether or not he should say yes or not.
Okay, Zach.
He takes off. He leaves the apartment for the last time. He gives her one last, patented Eris hug, and that's that's it. Just give me that hug and nothing more. Just stay back. I know that you want me, but I know I'm so sexy, but you got to just stay. Just give me that hug and we're good.
He needs a reality chick, man.
Oh, big time. We come to them, pre-decision day. They're in their respective places the night before. Jasmine says, she wishes they had more time. They did have fun. They have a good foundation, and wishes they both could have given 1,000% the whole time, with some great low-key shade to Eris. I wish that
Right.
both of us could have given it 1,000%.
Right.
Eris, for his part, says he's going to let intuition be his guide. The next morning, she wakes up and says, this is the biggest decision of her life. She's rested. She's prayed. She's going to stay true to herself. Eris says, this is 8 weeks has been a journey. Learned a lot about himself, learned a lot about Jasmine, learned a lot about marriage and how to be a spouse. And he's going to trust his intuition. Did Eris learn how to be a spouse in this? I don't know if he did.
Used very, very loosely.
He learned what not to do.
That's like us calling ourselves journalists.
Yeah. Well, I'm the journalist. You're the detective.
Right.
So we come to the decision day time. We see Cal and Pepper in their little pre-decision day meeting. They sit down. Cal says, I wonder if anything the last week has happened that's going to really turn this around. Pepper says, in the last meeting, it seemed that Eris had made some strides. They were sitting closer to each other. They were talking about the future. And Cal says, I really hope they managed to see something, that he managed to see something in her that he hadn't before. Okay. All right, Cal. Because they're
like to the last second. They think that this is just
this unfounded optimism. There's unfounded optimism and hope.
Yeah.
Jasmine arrives. She's in a smoking green dress. I'll just say that much.
She looks great.
Yes. Eris arrives and he has stolen the Joker suit from Joaquin Phoenix from that Joker movie. I did post in the Facebook group of Side by Side just so y'all could see it. I did say I understand now why he wore that suit, because they are both clowns.
Yeah. Red suit, green button down.
No, it was a red suit with a yellow button down. There was like someone said on Twitter, it was like a ketchup mustard suit. So yeah, that really helps define it. That's good. They do the whole thing about it's a typical decision day. They in a voiceover, they both say good and bad things about each other. To really kind of make you think about what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Jasmine walk in. Eris says, "Oh, you look nice." Cal asks him, "So how are things going?" Jasmine says, "The last 24 hours has been pretty weird without him, but she feels pretty good. She's at peace with everything. She's given 1,000,000% and will have no regrets from this."
Real quick, did you notice how far Jasmine had to lean down to give Dr. Pepper a hug?
Oh my, yeah. I mean, everybody there's like, all right, let me do I need to get on my knee for this? Like, I don't know if I can bend
Dr. Pepper, please, can you stand on this couch?
I need you to wear some lifts or something, Dr. Pepper. You can't be breaking anybody's back trying to get hugs from everyone.
That's what I was like, dang, Jasmine must be tall.
Yeah, I think so. Peppers, asked him to tell me some good things about the marriage. Eris says, it was good that we both got comfortable having tough conversations. And seeing how hard this is, stay true to herself and continue to grow. That's good. He got to learn her mannerisms and to be able to tell when something was wrong with her. She says it is good when they have those difficult conversations. They could have them like adults and move on and resolve it, and even kind of make a joke of it later. Eris says he has considered how much they could grow with more time and believes marriage is what he wants. He liked having someone at home waiting for him, someone to talk about his day with, and the fact that they created a peaceful household that smelled good and he ate good and she provided a loving household. Nothing about Jasmine herself. It was just having another warm body there to keep him company was basically what he was saying. It was good. It was
so nice to come home and I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Had a dog, had to make food for me. It was all good. And I mean, that should tell you where this is going.
They're like, no, Jasmine needs to create that environment for somebody who cares.
Yes, of course. Cal asks about, so what have the challenges been? Jasmine, of course, brings up, the attraction issue that, it stung her a bit. She has tried to be supportive for him in that whole thing because, as Jazz says, everybody else thinks you're crazy. She says, I think I'm beautiful and, in her words, a bad bitch. But if he is not attracted, stand to your convictions. Go ahead and say that. And she, hey, yes, all snap for Jasmine.
Yes, sis.
She says she does see that they could be compatible, but it takes two people to be in a marriage. Pepper asks, so do you feel like you've both given it 100%? Eris says, Jasmine has definitely given it 100%, but I feel like I haven't because I started
glad they're on
so
the same
late.
page with that.
Yeah. he says, yeah, I don't feel like I have because I started, really kind of just feeling feelings so late in the process. If he could go back, he would have tried to come in more vulnerable like Jasmine did. And if he had come in with an open mind, he could have gotten past the physical attraction issue a lot sooner. But he does believe there is a connection that is formed now. But he didn't do a good job of changing the narrative about attraction and all that stuff. So
and Dr. Pepper, well, it's not too late. You still have a chance to change that narrative.
You just gotta change the narrative. Like, Dr. Pepper is too late. The ship is already sinking. Don't try and save it now.
They're like, if we give y'all one more week.
Yeah, if we extended the deadline.
We're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to give you an extra week.
Married at first sight history. We're giving you an extra week because Eris couldn't get his shit together in time.
Right. One more week to give it your all, and then we'll reconvene and see what you want to say then.
Next week. Okay, how about one more week?
Right. Y'all tell us how many weeks y'all need.
Yeah, we just need some yeses. We are desperate. We're willing to give it as much time as y'all need.
Eris is like, I just need more time. Okay, what if we give you a year?
Yeah,
I just still need more time.
We'll pay you to keep going.
Just say yes.
Come on. So, as will come to be said in all of these decision day meetings, Dr. Pepper says, well, the time has come to make a decision. Jazz says, I know what I want and need in a marriage. I know what I've asked and prayed for. And, with all things we discussed in this relationship, I've learned even more about what I want in a marriage. And this ain't it. She would like a divorce.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yes,
pew, pew, pew.
Let's go. Now, I think you predicted that they would get a divorce. I predicted they would stay together because she had been talking so much about if you think that there's something there, just give it more time. Just say yes on decision day. She had been saying that in the show and on the after parties. So I thought maybe she would say she'd like to stay married. But
you predicted they both would say yes.
Yeah,
and I predicted they both would say no.
And especially Eris, because Eris really felt like he was like down to continue this and try at least to the cameras and to the experts and all that.
And all that shows us as an audience is that he was just putting on a front.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think I've ever been more happy to be wrong. Because I'm so happy that first of all, Jasmine went first to say no, and that it didn't look like, she said no because he said no.
Right. I'm so glad she went first. They gave her that power. I'm so happy because if it had gone the other way, it would have been like, if she had been thinking like there's the potential for this and then he says no, then she would have come out of this heartbroken.
Right.
Where she was able to say like, this is my decision.
And that leaves the door open for the people that say no second. It leaves the door open for people to be like, oh, maybe they would have said yes if the first person said yes. They just said no to save face. But I'm so glad they gave Jasmine that opportunity to say no first.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the results. Do you have those up by chance? I see Nicole and Chris
for the poll on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I
was gonna pin them, but I forgot. Here they are. So the overwhelming response was Jasmine says no and Eris says no.
Okay, so the listeners got it right. You and the listeners both got it right. I was wrong, but I
see your little vote for they both said yes.
Listen, they both yes got 16%. But hey, I'm happy to be wrong. Like I said,
67%. Said that they would both say no. So
yep. So she says yes, I want a divorce. He, of course, in his Eris way, just kind of looks like he doesn't really care too much. He's just like,
nothing that is said to him registers unless it's like, I don't even know what excites him.
Sex?
It's just like it. I don't even. People say like, oh, it goes in one ear out the other. I don't even think it gets to that point. Like, there's some kind of blocker.
The one-way trip through the ears.
It's some blocker. He doesn't even reach his ear. He just sits
bypasses the head altogether.
It's just phew.
Yeah, he's just like,
yeah. It's like, act like you hear her. What is wrong with you?
Okay. He says this, hasn't gone how either of them had planned. But even though there's been a lot of good in the marriage, you need more than that. He thought he would be, he thought in marriage he would be smitten and he would want more intimacy. And, he didn't feel that in this. And he's glad he went through this with her. And, he says, oh, I would also like a divorce as well. Okay. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Do you think there's a chance that he changed his answer?
I think it would have been, I think it could have been difficult for him to say no if she had said yes, especially if like coupled with whatever she said, like if she was saying how she wanted them to just have more time and to actually give this a fair go. If it was shaped like that and she said yes, I could see him saying yes.
Yeah. I just, I really want them to, I want them to crib from the international versions a little bit because, in those versions, when they have their weekly meetings about stay or leave, they have to write it down and then reveal it. I wish they would do that at decision day and reveal what they wrote down before they got there. I think
it can't be hard to have a piece of paper that says yes or no.
Yeah, like a little whiteboard, just flip it over like it's a game show. Maybe maybe that's why they don't do that, because they feel like it's too game showy. I could see them not doing it for that reason.
Because they want to hear the explanations. They want to hear the person explain all this stuff, and then the drama potentially the other part, like after that person says that, then them saying no or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand why they're not doing it, but I wish they kind of would, because I don't want to have anybody have the cop out of changing their answer because of the first person's answer. But whatever, it is what it is. Pepper says, the growth that's come out of you two is still very phenomenal, and we're very proud of you. Pastor Cowden then decides to pick at the scab and says, have y'all discovered any new deal breakers in this? Eric says, well, for me, it's I need someone with self-love. He says, when people love themselves, like he loves himself, he hugs himself 5 times a day. After he brushes his teeth, he smiles in the mirror. And when he wakes up in the morning, he says to himself, show me how good today can be. And he even tells us, like,
you sounded like Uncle
Pastor Cow.
Yeah.
And he even says, Jasmine, you may or may not have heard me in the morning when I wake up say it to myself. I'm trying to say it too loud to wake you up. Jazz just kind of looking at him like, what the heck are you talking about? And Eric says, when two people love themselves and come together, it creates more. And before he can finish, Jazz says, so you say I don't love myself? I said, oh,
yes.
I paused. Went and popped my popcorn, got my bucket, like, all right, let's play. What we got going on? Because when she said that, oh, you try to say I don't love, I said, oh, we're gonna get something good right now. Here it comes.
I was so glad she said this. Yes. It's like, yes, Jasmine, speak up for yourself, because this man has put you through the ringer.
So at this point, it feels like he's caught. He's like, oh, she got mad at that. He says, well, at times I think the temperature of what was going on with us caused you to shut down. She says, but it's not about my self-love, though. This is what she said to him.
Right.
He said, well, I mean, we can agree to disagree. Like, oh, he was
like, no, that is such a cop-out. Agree to disagree. Get out of here. Because what you're trying to say is that you think it makes her insecure or about herself when she has a reaction to the things going on in your relationship. Those things are not related.
He's holding his opinion of her in such high regard, as if his opinion of her damaged her so much, where it was never about that. It was always like, what the hell's wrong with Eris that he doesn't find me attractive? Because that's his problem. That's not my problem. That's his problem. That's how she treated it the whole season, from what I feel like we saw.
Yeah, he not only does he hold her opinion of herself in such a high regard, he holds his own opinion.
That's
because his own. Okay, yeah. I thought you said he holds her opinion of herself in a high regard.
He thinks his opinion is so high and mighty that he has hit her so hard with his opinion that she is just now starting to hate herself and hate how she looks. Like, that's what he thinks. He thinks has such an effect on her.
Yes, he thinks because he said that he thought he was not attracted to her, that now she's thinking, oh wow, I'm unattractive. No, did you just hear? That's how I know there's a blocker on his ears. He did not hear her say that she has that self-confidence and he just hasn't been able to see it. Or she knows she's attractive and he's the one that isn't seeing it. And now all of a sudden he's just like, it just it that was so annoying. I'm so glad she spoke up for herself. And I wonder if he's like, oh shoot, I didn't expect her to speak up for herself.
I really think he did, because he seemed a little discombobulated after she spoke up. He's like, well, I guess we'll just agree to disagree.
Right.
But then he continues and he says, I'm not trying to, say you don't like yourself or you're insecure, but I just feel like no matter what I do, someone else, the other person should love themselves unconditionally. So no matter what you do, no matter what BS comes out your mouth, you just want someone to be fine.
And it's not, and it's he's comparing apples to oranges. Like her reaction to you does not reflect on how she views herself.
Right.
And she has already been so vulnerable about like being bullied in the past and just having to work up that self-confidence and like getting it to the point to where she is today. And then this fool is just thinking like, I've torn her down.
Yeah,
I've
totally
doesn't love herself.
I just decimated her self-esteem and her, and her just the way she looks at herself. No, man, she is, I think, gonna come from this so much stronger because she dealt with your crap the whole time and she was able to withstand it. She's just gonna be a lot stronger. I think she says that a few times in this episode. She's just gonna come out of this a lot stronger than she was before. And Cal, I think sensing the mood in the room says, "So, how do you feel about what he just said?" She laughs. She's like, "First of all, I have plenty of self-love, but more importantly, he is the one with the commitment issues. He is used to ghosting girls. That is his norm." And she says, "I feel like if it wasn't the attraction, it would have been something else."
Exactly.
He is not in a place where he can commit to a marriage. He was never ready for marriage. And I never felt that effort from him. I said, get it, go, yes. Yes. I just wish it didn't take the end of the experiment for the gloves to come off from Jasmine. I just wish
it's because she was still in that place of like, okay, if I take it here, that could be that could change where we could be, like still thinking of that potential of like, well, maybe we could work it out, right? Or maybe there is a chance.
And I do wonder if it was solely from what he said the moments before, where she was like, all right, I guess we get real now. Let's take off the kid gloves. I wish there was some way we could find out. But it felt like you about to get a real Katina now moment. Like, like you about to see the real Jasmine.
Yes. I was so glad she said this. And she's so right. If it wasn't the attraction thing, he would have, if she was perfect, like if she was Lauren London, right? He would have made up something about like Duchess, man. Duchess is always in the bed with us. Duchess is always here and there. Like, I like Duchess, don't get me wrong, but there comes a point you got to draw a line between what's more important, your husband or Duchess. Like, I totally could picture him doing that.
Yeah. And Pepper, pretty much speaking only to Jasmine at this point, says, well, listen, I'm so sorry. We take these marriages seriously and we hope they can grow. I know that you tried very hard to be a wife and we really admire you for that. And she says nothing to Eris. She just like, she turned to Eris and just said,
right. You sicken me.
Hey, sicken me, jerk. Cal again, kind of only speaking to Jasmine, says, if you take the lessons from here, I'm sure that you will find the person that you are meant to be with, and that will appreciate you for who you are. So, not even talking to Eris, just
they turn to Eris. Do better.
Do better.
Just grow up. Ask. Do better.
Grow up.
You are 39.
Be a man. In a confessional, Eris says, divorce is not what me or Jasmine wanted, but the marriage should be better than what we went through. He came into this and just to add the cherry on the nonsense Sunday, Eris again talks. I came into this thinking marriage sex is going to be great. I was looking forward to it, and someone saying to me, "Oh, harder, more. That's my spot. Lift my leg up." Pastor Cal said, "What you said? What I hear?" He said, "That's right. That's right, young fella. That's what it's like, Eris. Yeah, you could have experienced that, but you was playing."
Oh my gosh. And
No matter where Pastor Cal was in that field, his ears perked up. He said, "Someone's talking about some good stuff."
Yes, this confessional alone showed us zero growth.
Zero.
This is the same Eris we saw
pre-experiment. Right back to the honeymoon where he's asking about sexual positions, like no growth whatsoever. So again, just so glad that Jasmine had the right read and knew to end this thing at this point. In a confessional, Jasmine says, she had to stay true to herself and what she wants and needs. She's still happy she got married at first sight. She wants to be married even more now than ever to the right person. And I mean, I feel like the show really wanted to treat Jasmine in a good way in this episode, in this decision day moment, because we get her decision first. We end with her after with a great statement after Eris's Neanderthal nonsense statement.
Yeah.
So I feel like they really kind of felt maybe they owed it to Jasmine to really give her the floor here and make her show her as the great person she is.
Yes. Because what a ridiculous ride that was.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the preview, do you see anything that you wanted to call out?
Well, we do see Jasmine goes on a date and kisses the guy.
Yeah.
So I wonder, that'll be interesting to see what Jasmine is like when she's like being
wooed
in a relationship with someone who, being pursued, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I did notice because Regina in the Facebook group had always had the contention that she thought Eris and Jasmine were going to say yes, because in the infamous clip where Gina and Dom,
they are next to each other.
They're like almost hugged up on each other. Because I saw it again in the preview and I said, "Oh, that is interesting." Because he is kind of like hugged up with him. I'm like, what is that about? So that was an interesting thing to see. Eris also goes on a date seemingly with someone. So I don't know.
It could be that they're similar to like couples who end as friends.
Like a Mitch and Kristen? Like a Mitch and Kristen type?
Yeah, like there's no bad blood. They just weren't good for each other. And so maybe they were cordial enough.
I mean, they weren't even hugged up on each other when they were married.
Because and there we go, low stakes.
Yeah,
Eris doesn't feel the pressure.
Pressure's like, off now. Yeah,
yeah. He's like, I could be all over you now. And she's probably like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. That'll be. Oh my gosh, what? Oh my gosh, what if they did get back together?
Oh gosh, no. I don't see it happening. But yeah, that's Eris and Jasmine's decision day. Like I said, happy to be wrong. Happy for the outcome for Jasmine, and hope only the best for Jasmine.
All right. So let's move on to on a lighter note. Well, maybe Nicole and Chris. So we get the scene, like it's the last day they're together, and she's asking Chris's dogs, like, okay, do you want me to stay your current mommy, or do you want to have no mommy? I thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh, you just think, well, if you're out of here, Chris is single.
Just by himself alone for the rest of his life. You'll never have a mommy. Chris will never get married because I will kill him.
So that was funny. So they're talking about the fact that Chris is about to leave. They're in bed together. And he's like, it's going to be good to take some time apart to figure out a decision. And she's nervous because she thinks that they'll change their mind with a little time apart.
She's like, if you leave my sight, you might change your mind. I need to be here with you to make sure that you're going to say the thing I need you to say. I can't have you off thinking your own thoughts around here.
You're right. Can't have you leaving me getting any ideas.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Right. It's like, girl,
I need to be around to tell you what to think at every given moment.
And I like how she tried to start that with like, I'm worried about us. And then she doubles down and is like, no, I'm specifically worried about you changing your mind. It's like, girl, what is
Oh man.
she goes on to say that she knows surface level how they feel. I'm sorry, did y'all not already exchange I love yous?
Buddy.
What's surface level about
Well,
that?
she's always trying to find the deeper paranoia in everyone and everything. Like, there's got to be something that you're not thinking of, or something that you're thinking that's going to make you say no. I just want to make sure that you're not going to give into those, to give into those bad thoughts. Nicole, I feel like we say this every, like, calm down, just relax, be cool.
Yes, chill, girl. So she tells him like she thinks he's gonna start to think like, okay, is this a quality I really want in a future partner?
Because he hasn't thought that in the past 2 months.
Right. Never crosses mind.
The thought never entered his brain. I'm sure he's thought about it time and time again. I'm sure he has had his answer for weeks now at this point and determined whether or not he could put up with your stuff or not.
Yeah. So we get a confessional from him. And he's like, if he does say no, it'll be because of all of her questioning of things and her not being secure, which I think is a very interesting parallel, which we'll talk about at decision day. But the insecurity and how it's delivered from Chris and how it's delivered from Eris.
Mm.
So Chris was walking out, he told her, like, don't think too hard.
Yeah,
jokes.
That's some good advice. I think they cut right at the moment where they probably exchanged I love yous.
Mm-hmm.
And the show's like, we can't show them saying that because that'll tip off what they're gonna say.
Exactly. Got to leave us on the edge of our seats. So we get it's the next morning, and she said we have like her recording herself, and she says, you know, these past 8 weeks have been a struggle, and she still needs to weigh the pros and cons. I was like, okay, Nicole.
Sure.
So we get to decision day. We're at decision, or it's decision day, and he's still at home getting ready. And so he says he honestly didn't think he'd feel this way on decision day. And he's thinking, okay, maybe her self-worth issues will be a bigger issue later on.
I mean, I feel like this is more production saying, okay, we gotta show you saying some negative things. Just
right.
If you could think of negative things, what would they be?
Right, because him saying, like, I didn't think I'd feel this way on decision day, he could be thinking, I didn't think I'd feel so secure and solid and just sure.
We'll cut that last part out. Part out.
They're like, say decision day, pause, then finish the rest of that sentence.
Give us a clean edit.
Yeah. Yeah, that made me think this is so random and so irrelevant to this podcast, but it made me think about production overall. Where, like, I found out recently on Big Brother Canada that they, like, when Arissa, the host, is talking to the house guests, she pauses for between what she's saying, and then the house guests, like, are still looking, they're like reacting, and then she'll continue, and then they're reacting, and it's all to get the shots as if they're reacting to what she's saying. Which makes me wonder, like, okay, production overall, like, how is it, like, you know, nothing is as it seems. Right. You know, we could very well get an explanation from all of these couples from both sides of it.
I mean, we talk about Frankenbites all the time and ADR, which is like added, you know, dialogue recording or whatever. I think if people really knew what went into production of shows like these, it would ruin the show for them.
Yeah. Exactly. So we found out from Nicole she didn't sleep well last night. She woke up all throughout the night because today is just supposed to be life-changing. So we get to Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. They said they haven't seen any major conflict, and they don't know if that's good or bad. And then Dr. Pepper says, if Kismet works, then so be it. And I was like, what does that mean? And it's like destiny. I was like, oh.
What do you think of this notion that they need to have a major conflict to determine whether or not this is going to work?
I don't think that's, I don't know if it's necessary, but I think it's, in this situation, it might be. And the reason I say that is because it's every person's different, right? but we do know how stressed Nicole can get at things. And I think it is very important to see, like, if she could act that way about like her makeup at the wedding, how would she genuinely react in an argument? And you'd want to know that, like, both parties are able to self-regulate. Things wouldn't get too out of hand, or no one would get too stressed or too heated at the moment, and is the type of person that like says things that they would regret. And then I know there are people that are like, you should be in a relationship long enough to see a person in like all seasons of the year, just to see what they're like. And so I get their point in saying this, but I also think that you have to think about the other party in the situation, Chris. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything would rile him up.
Right. And I think without having to get into a major scuffle or disagreement, I think they can see how the other person would react. I think they know themselves well enough to know that Nicole would probably spin out, and Chris would have to really kind of regulate her and bring her back in. Chris would probably never really raise his voice. She may or may not raise her voice, get, ridiculous and crazy, and he probably already knows that he might have to just remove himself from the situation for her to calm down. I don't think you need to really experience that major fight to know that, but I think it would be beneficial just to see. And Pascal also said it as if like, what if we're not here to help them? What if they, we're going to be gone because you're here all the time, right? Because you're always there to help them, whatever they need. Yeah, okay, sure. But I do, and again, this is 2 months into the marriage, an arbitrary day.
Yeah.
It's just a yes or no day. It's not something that will determine the rest of your life for real. They still have enough time to get into their first fight. And I think the fact that Chris is the way he is what has kept them from getting into a bigger fight. Because
exactly.
Because another person could have taken any Nicole tangent, any Nicole pressuring, and spun it into a major disagreement. But Chris is the one to kind of bring it back down and say, look, this is not a big deal. I don't know what you're even talking about. Anyone else could have taken that and made a big fight about it. So it may be a while until they can get to that big fight.
Yeah, you're very right. He probably is the sole reason they haven't had a big blow up. So that's evidence right there that they could be a really good match.
He hasn't taken the bait from Nicole. I feel like Nicole almost wants to get into a big fight because she herself wants to see how he would react, but he won't take the bait.
Yeah, exactly. Pastor Cal is very nervous about her always questioning things. Okay, we've been down that road. So it's time for decision day. She's wearing this blue dress. He's in a navy suit, a white shirt. We get their flashback.
She was wearing a pink dress, I think. Wasn't blue. It was pink.
Nicole?
Yeah, Kirsten was wearing a blue dress.
Why do I have blue dress? I like specifically wrote down their clothes.
You might be
colorblind. Now this is the second color I've gotten wrong.
You might be colorblind. You might want to get yourself checked.
No, I think it's my TV.
Your TV is changing pinks to blues?
No, remember I told you about that last season that there was like a green spot on my TV?
Oh.
I mean, like, it's not like on my TV, but it seems like in certain scenes, like a color is not the same that it was. But that's so interesting. Really? Why do I think she was wearing a blue dress?
I don't know.
Or maybe, maybe maybe I just wrote it down wrong. Because as I saw him, I was taking my notes on what she was wearing.
I guess those expensive.
Maybe that's it.
Those expensive home theater setups aren't all they're cracked up to be. Your movie theater inside of your house, is not that great.
So she was wearing whatever. She was wearing a pink dress. I'm interested for the colors for everybody else. Okay, so with both experts like gave their rundown on why they thought the couples would be good together. This is all stuff from like as if no time has passed. So from like when they first interviewed them. But Dr. Pepper basically said like Chris is, appeasing and Nicole has some insecurity. So that would be her concern. So we get to them sitting down finally, and he missed having her next to him last night. So there's that. She physically missed having him. She felt she rolled over looking for him multiple times during the night. She said her dog didn't even sleep with her last night. Not even in the same room.
The dog's been away for her so long. He's like, I don't even know you anymore. I can't
Yeah,
sleep in
he's
the
like,
same bed
what's
as
your
you.
name?
Yeah, who are you?
Now you want to come back? No, I'll sleep on the couch.
Also, now that Chris is gone, you all ready to come back and snuggle up in bed with me? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think not. So Dr. Pepper asked them why they think they were matched. Chris says they both talk a lot. The dogs are a big factor. He doesn't think that they would have matched him with someone who didn't like dogs. And Nicole says they're even compatible with all the small things, like they have the same dentist. She
Isn't
was
that
like,
weird? That is kind of weird that they had the same
yeah, like
dentist
what are
and
the
they matched.
odds?
Yeah.
I'm like, she says other people don't find it funny, but I think it is funny. I'm like, yeah, I think it's worth talking about. How did
Yeah, for real.
how did y'all find this dentist?
Pepper's like, oh, I think we're caught. That's how we matched y'all. They're the same dentist.
Right.
I'm surprised they didn't use that in their pre-season material. Like, and they both have the same dentist, so they both care about hygiene.
Right, exactly. Nicole does say she has more of a temper, but Chris is more calm. Dr. Pepper asked about like the challenges that they had faced, and Chris says the appeasement stuff kept coming up, and then after that, she just kept questioning if he was happy, and so he was like having to talk about things over and over and over. Like he would have preferred to just talk it out so they could move forward. And Nicole's like, yeah, like I don't want it to be like, oh, here Nicole goes again. It's like that is how it is sometimes.
It been like that though.
Right. And Pastor Cal asked them like, what do they need to see in order for like this to in their relationship? And so Chris says he wants her to fully love herself and not to be so hard on herself. And she says, noted. And so I was like, what a difference from how Eris was trying to go on and on about self-love and how he's at the point of self-love and he needs somebody there, rather than explaining his viewpoint on how she views herself or how he thinks she views herself.
Yeah, I mean, Chris obviously comes at it from a gentler perspective and a gentler point of view, basically saying, I love you. I just want you to see the reasons why I love you in yourself, is what he's saying. And Eris is just kind of like, I done tore you down. You gotta fix that. Like that's a problem with you. Where Chris is a lot more gentle with it.
Yeah, and the way Eris is framing it was like she was the reason that this was not working out because of her self-love. It's like, boy,
bye.
So she also says she would love to see him follow through on things that he says that he's going to do for himself, like waking up early, going to the gym. And so that's it. So we get to the decisions. So she goes first. She says he has made her happier than she's ever been in her 33 years of life. She's like, she realized like with the right person, you can say or do anything and they'll accept you for who you like or who you are, and they'll love you.
I don't know about that's a little much. I could say and do anything. Anything?
Right.
I don't know about anything.
The sky's the limit.
Apparently.
She feels confident in their relationship. When she thinks about her future, she pictures him standing next to her and all those thoughts. And so she decides to stay married. We get to his decision. He says she makes life fun. He thinks life would be so lonely without her. He loves her fully, and he wants to stay married too.
I mean, the biggest no-brainer in the world.
Like, our predictions were right.
Our predictions are right. I think we had a pretty good percentage on the poll.
What is it?
Let me pull it. Keep going as I pull it up.
Okay. Well, I was about to pull it up. But yeah, this is a no surprise. This is one of those easy. If we think of, every season has an easy yes. I think. I think the only hesitation for me thinking is Houston, because I was like with Jose and Rachel. I wasn't too sure. I felt like they were our most likely yes, but it still was on the fence. And look at them now. Ain't together.
Broken up.
Right.
So we were at a 92% both say yes in the poll. The only other vote getter out of 124 votes was 8% that Nicole would say yes and Chris would say no.
Oh,
that got 8%.
So no one thought Nicole would say no.
No one thought. No, all the Nicole no options had 0 votes.
That's funny. All right.
Yeah. They got a little. We want a little more after the. Did they have a little more after the decision?
They went to F45, which I thought was cool that they were working out at F45 because I've been going to F45. So I was like,
Oh, that
I
was
see
what they're
you.
doing in their preview?
Yeah.
Oh,
They were working out, and the big F45 logo was on the
oh,
wall.
I didn't catch that whatsoever.
Yeah.
If it's in a gym, I don't pay attention.
It's a solid workout. If you've ever debated F45, I would highly recommend it. I enjoy it.
Okay.
And then the other bit of the only other bit of them was, well, Nicole saying Mac and Gina should go on a date, and then Nicole changing her last name.
Oh yes, I wonder, what do you think is going to be the verdict there? Are they is she already going to have done it? Are they trying to throw us off the scent?
I don't know. Who cares?
No
I'm
one
just
really.
kidding. No, like she's going to. I think if
Yeah.
she hasn't already, she will. I don't think
of course
it's
they're
going to
trying
be
to make
like
it. They're trying to make it to an issue on the preview. I just don't think it'll be that big of an issue.
Who was a couple last season where that was an issue?
Lindy and Miguel,
yeah.
It's
I don't
Stasha.
think it will be anything on that level.
Stasha had done it the day after they got married. Changed her last name.
And I don't see Barnes anywhere on her socials or anything. So
nope. Yeah, she did say she was gonna keep it that. She said she would keep it that no matter what. Well, she didn't.
She said, "Oh no."
Yeah. Clint and Gina, it's their time for decision day. They're sitting down talking. Gina says this time part's going to be good for them because they've never really been apart. They do so much together. There's so much things to do one after the other. They haven't had time to process.
So inseparable.
Yeah, you're so inseparable. They haven't had time to really use what they've learned and they really process that. They have learned how to come to a decision, and they will be good with whatever decision they come up with. In a confessional, he says, there's been peaks and crevices. Is it peaks and crevices? I feel like it's peaks and valleys, Clint. But okay. He says there are peaks and crevices.
Figure out the opposite of crevices.
Yeah. But 95% of their time spent together has been good. And decision day for him means figuring out if they can grow together. I did like how in this, when he was doing his little confessionals, they had the voiceover of him doing that, and then they had him walking through the house and packing his bags. And Hank was just like following after. He's like, "Are we going somewhere, Dad?
Where are you going?
Why are you packing your things, Dad? Where are we going on a trip? Are we going away together somewhere? Why isn't the other one packing her bags? Don't tell me you're leaving. Come on, Dad. Don't leave me. Where are you going? Come take me with you, please. Don't leave me with her.
Not the other one,
Daddy. Don't leave me with her." So he's Clint's getting ready to leave. He gives Hank a real good boy, there's my buddy. He gives him a good petting, and he gives Gina a hug. He says, Gina says, "I can send you pictures of Hank all day if you want." He says, "Yeah, I need those." He takes off. He literally he's leaving the house. He's like, "All right, have a good one." Like the same like leaving you would give to your just a normal acquaintance. He's like, "All right,
yeah, see ya."
See ya.
And that's the right word, acquaintance, because you give a friend even a better goodbye than that.
Yeah. We get to the morning before. In a confessional, he says, he's been weighing it all out, trying to figure out what she wants in a marriage. Well, she says this. She's been trying to figure out what she wants in a marriage. And if this doesn't work, she has to start all over again. And it will be scary. In Clint's confessional, he says, this is a whirlwind of emotions. It's a culmination of everything they've gone through. He came into this with expectations, and now they're dealing with what the reality of it is.
Back to her point on it, that being scary. Not scary enough that you didn't give this any effort in order not to have to be single again.
Right? She had to say what she had to say. Obviously.
It's like, I guess, like haunted house scary. Like it's scary, but you'll still go in.
It's a jump scare in a movie, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, I'll still pay money and walk through, but it's scary.
It's a PG-13 horror movie scary.
Yeah.
We get to the Cal and Pepper pre-decision day meeting. Pepper says, she's really frustrated with them. She can't understand why this isn't a big romantic relationship. Cal says, this is the biggest conundrum we have ever experienced. I said, is it?
I'm like, Jason and I could put together a list.
Yeah, we got a top 10 list that are more conundruming than this.
I don't know, but do they just, the season ends, they just wipe their memory clean, move on to because
they go into a facility and have their memories wiped.
This is not the biggest conundrum ever. Like, they act like Gina and Clint are besties for the resties, and they just couldn't figure out a romantic spark. I'm like, there are people in the past who had a great friendship too, and it never got off the ground.
Yes, I mean, it's a lot of hyperbole. The biggest conundrum we've ever experienced.
Mitch, is it Kristen or Kirsten? It's Kristen,
It's
right?
Kristen for Mitch and Kristen, yes.
Mitch and Kristen literally walked away from Decision Day holding hands.
They walked away, looked like they were about to go and bang somewhere. They were a big conundrum for sure.
Yeah.
I think bigger than Clint and Hank. Clint and Gina.
Yeah, Clint and Hank are not a conundrum.
Yeah, we know they're besties forever. Yeah.
Yes.
Pepper says, I think what really hurt them in the beginning was the words that were said. It made both of them feel like they weren't desired or wanted. She hopes they can have a spark of hope and give this more time. She sees that they have a lot to offer each other. I mean, Pepper, you really you hit on the head in the first shot. Like, I feel like the conundrum has been solved by Pepper right after Cal.
Right
this is the biggest mystery I've ever seen. It's what they said on the honeymoon, bro. That's what it is. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
We get the Pastor Cal's, the voiceover as Clint and Gina are walking in. He says they were matched because of their humble beginnings and big successes. But there hasn't been any romance. They've learned to like each other in spite of their differences. But that is a good foundation. I mean, a good foundation for a friendship. And that's pretty much it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Question.
Uh-oh.
Was Gina wearing a green dress?
Yes, I believe she was.
Okay.
If I recall correctly. Yeah, I think she was.
Okay, perfect.
We get the voiceover from each person talking about their goods and their bads of the other person. Not really much to talk about there. Clint comes in, he walks up to Cal and Pepper and says, I had to step my suit game up because, you set the president, Pastor Cal, and I've been called out for not having enough flair. Clint,
it was sky blue suit.
It was swag, not flair. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, I literally was thinking, I was like, did he just say flair?
Flair.
But this sky blue suit, I will say, brought out his blue eyes.
I thought I was going to Easter service with that blue suit.
It did. It was perfect for that occasion. But I was like, his eyes are like piercing with this suit.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice, but I mean that's not my.
You didn't look into his eyes?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I do have Gina arrives in her green dress.
Okay.
Pepper says she looks major league sexy. So okay, Dr. Pepper. Calm down, damn. Pepper asks, so what have you learned about marriage? Gina says she's learned that she is ready to be married. We said, what'd you say?
I don't think that lesson was learned.
I don't think that's what you were taught because you didn't definitely take the lesson. You didn't take the teaching. She says having a person day to day is nice, and Clint says it takes work to make a person feel valuable and special. And I've learned to really hold back when needed, and when is the appropriate time to or never to say what is on the top of my mind. I said, okay, Clint, there you go. That learned was a lesson learned.
Yeah. You went to class.
Yeah, that's
Gina
a good
skipped
lesson.
Class the whole semester and then showed up at the final. Like, yeah, I learned physics.
Yeah, and then proceeded to blow up the building. Cal says, what are the best memories that you've had? Clint says, I really like the couples retreat. We are great in a group atmosphere. We can play in the same sandbox. Gina says, the horseback riding and the rodeo was really good. Clint again says, 95% of this has been great, and that's the part I've been reflecting on. Pepper says, 95%? That's actually pretty good for a married couple. I just think Clint has a bad idea of what a good percentage is.
Right.
I think he really
because he used 95% earlier too.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't understand what he should be saying at this moment. But Pepper took that and wanted to run with it. She said, 95 is great. You guys should say yes then. You guys should be good.
Gina was like, that's heavy.
Yeah, Gina's facial expressions were like, don't know what you're talking about. She was definitely saying what she wanted to say with her face.
Yeah.
Pepper asks, so what did you like most about marriage? Clint says, it was great waking up every day, knowing someone is there. We can hang out and do whatever we want. And she would lean on me for advice. And we could talk about our days. It sounded like a kid talking about what they would look forward to when they were done. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
No one's around to tell us what we have to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could eat junk food,
Yeah.
stay up all night.
I don't have to eat these stinky vegetables.
We could go TP some houses.
We can watch TV all day if we want to. She says her favorite part is going for coffee and walking Hank. He's been a great cheerleader for her and her business, and he's a great listener. Pepper then asks, so what about the challenges? Gina says, well, it's really a struggle when you have a friendship, but you can't get past that to get romantic. Pepper says, I am mystified about why you guys can't get on the same page romantically. You're both good-looking people. You get along well, but you just couldn't find the connection. Clint says, look, Gina is beautiful, but we just could not get there. Cal then asks Clint, so why do you feel like it's worked with your other relationships romantically, but not with Gina? Clint says, it may have to do with the fact that my previous relationships, they like to do some of the same activities as me, being outdoors, being adventurous, and I have not been active at all since I started this experiment. And now Gina has taken offense. She's, well, listen, it almost felt like he was going back for the slender and athletic comment.
Yeah.
She's like, listen here, buddy. I'm plenty active. I would not be opposed to it if you had planned some outdoor activities. I would have been fine with it. I'm not as high maintenance to say, oh, that's outdoors. I can't do that.
I will. This is the part I will take up for Gina. She did go out on the sailing boat. She did the stuff on the honeymoon. Like, she definitely would have if the offer was on the table. If they were doing these things together. So that point wasn't fair.
I wonder if this is on is this on production, because they're like, no, Clint, we cannot go rock climbing. we don't have the people that will go with a camera rock climbing with you to catch that. It's like, all right, I just wanted to go rock climbing. Cal says, if either of you had initiated romantic interest, how would either of you have responded? Gina says, if someone is pining after you and being intentional about what they want with you, we could have built an attraction. But it's hard for her to vocalize what she needed and what she wanted because it never really felt organic to talk about that type of thing with Clint.
And this is where I can't be with Gina because, hey, you also weren't showing an interest. You can always which came first, the cart or the horse? It's like, no, it's mutual. Like, they need each other.
You kind of mixed them up there, but it's which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh wait,
you're putting the cart before the horse. Nice try though. Which came first, the cart or the horse?
I need to just stay away from these analogies.
Who do you think you are, Clint?
He's put me in the mood to try to reference these things. But I just do better with metaphors, like explaining real life situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, like, obviously Clint wasn't going to be trying to put his best foot forward and pursue her, knowing that she wasn't trying to be pursued. Like, she wasn't interested in him. I think if they hadn't had this honeymoon fiasco, he would have thought that there was potential there for them. But he's already heard that she's not attracted to red hair people. And then she's heard that he's usually attracted to more slender people, which making her think that he doesn't think that, what he thinks about her physically. So it's like, y'all both were just not interested in each other. So you can't blame that on, he wasn't being pursued, because he could have turned back around and like, you didn't open the door to be pursued. So they could have gone in circles.
And this isn't even the end of Gina's audacity with this topic. We finally get to, okay, guys, the time has come. It's time for the decisions. I feel like it's on, if you ever watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, when they do like the questions, like the lights come down, it's like,
Yeah. That always like makes me so nervous.
Yeah,
I'm not even
that's the
the one
point of
about
it.
to win money.
Yeah, that's the point of it. So Clint says, this has been a hell of an experience. I would do it all over again, even with you as my wife. He says, so ultimately, because they really set it up as he's going to say yes, but then he went to commercial. We
Yes.
come back. Because ultimately, I don't feel like I was the husband that either of us deserved, so I want a divorce. Clint always wanted to really kind of put the blame on himself, I think,
Yeah.
which is good of him, but I wish he could have been a little more honest here.
Yeah. The struggle is like, that's the, even though he didn't need to accept all that responsibility, that is the mature thing to do. Cause like, we could go back and forth all day. Let me just
Yeah.
own it.
Yeah.
And so we can move forward and we can move on. Whereas like, no, like he could have been like, no, you need to share accountability in this,
He
or
he
share responsibility.
he pushes back a little coming up, but she does say, "Yeah, I agree with you." Um, she looks back on this and is grateful that that she is seeing growth in him. I said, "Okay, I've seen growth," and she's talking a little bit like Eris at this point, saying like, "You did so good boy. You showed growth." But
Right.
but there are things that she's looking for in a marriage that he just couldn't give her, and yeah, it's best if they got a divorce. But then, in the post decision of it all, when they're asking them questions and stuff, and they're talking more. She says, "Well, I just kind of wish that you had taken initiative, even though you didn't have the desire to step up, even if you weren't feeling it, to try and fight for this and set the tone and set the foundation." I said, "The nerve,
The
the
nerve.
gall, the audacity." I said, I mean, and to touch on more of what you're talking about, as the whole honeymoon thing, and I think you could pick up like vibes, right, like attitude, and it just never even to it felt like that to us. I can't even imagine how it felt to Clint, that her attitude and vibes were just, she was not about it at all. She was not going to be receptive to anything he did. Now I will say, I've said it before, that if Clint wanted to do this, he was going to have to take the initiative, because she was not going to move at all. And I think
Yeah.
that initiative he could have taken, I'm not saying he has to go up and ask for a kiss, but just give her these compliments, right? You are beautiful. You look so good today. Something like that. It just never felt like they did that. But I feel like more of that is his, like, okay, she's not into this at all. We're just going to rock out this 8 weeks, because her attitude, her vibe is not that she wants anything to happen with us at all. So I can't really blame him too much for
Yeah.
not doing that. But I will say, if he wanted it to work, that's what he should have done. But I can't believe she
Right.
actually said that he should have fought for this thing that she obviously did not want.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you could always choose a lottery ticket numbers the next
Yeah,
day.
because that's what he says. Well, it's always easy to pick lottery numbers the next day. And this is where he kind of pushes back. He says, "Well, you had said things like you felt uncomfortable and you felt things were forced. And I just wish you had stepped out of your comfort zone to try new things, to try things outside of your comfort." Because I
Did
mean
she forget that she didn't want to move into the apartment?
right, that right there tells him that there's no point of even really trying. She had to be bullied and harassed into coming to live there.
Yep.
And as he says, you said things were uncomfortable, you said things felt forced. So obviously, if you were getting that from her and she's saying those things, you don't want to make things more uncomfortable and more forced by being like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, you want to give me a kiss?" Like, you don't want to do that. So I like I said, can't blame him for not taking more initiative. Just saying there are things he could have done, but I don't blame him for not doing those things.
Right. I mean, like, I it's like she thinks, it's like Gina thought, like, to go back to your earlier point, it's like she thought that him pursuing her would make her like him more. Like, and
Yeah, I don't.
that's on him for
Yeah, I
not
just don't think that would be
sparking
the
that.
case.
Mm-mm.
I think that
She
would
would
have
be
led
more
to a
yeah.
yeah. I think that would have led to an uncomfortable conversation of been like,
Mm-hmm.
"Listen, I'm not into it, so I'm going to need you to stop trying."
Yeah.
I think that's what that would have led to. But now that it's over, she feels comfortable saying that, when she could have said that at any point during this experiment that she wants him to try, but she
Yeah.
waited until things were over to say
Until it was too
this.
late.
Right. so that she could look like more of the good guy in this and saying, well, he didn't try. You didn't give him any space to try. You didn't give him an environment to try.
Yeah, literally all of these conversations with the experts, it never came up.
Never.
But, yeah.
So Pepper really sensing the vibe of the audience and sensing what was going to be really important to us in this Clint and Gina relationship, asked the question we all wanted to ask. So what's going to happen with Hank?
Yeah.
Because as you know, Hank is her dog. So he's going to stay with her. Gina says, well, he did offer me $10,000 for Hank. They joke a little bit. What if he said 20? And did she counter offer? Wow. Clint is almost age of wealth. Clint is age of wealth level to be offering $10,000 for Hank. I mean, how much did Pepper and Cinnamon cost? They had to cost at least that.
No, they were. I don't even know if I should say they were not 10,000.
But that close sounds like.
Over. Take a guess, and I'll tell you over or under.
2,000.
Under.
Okay, 1,500.
Under.
1,000.
Over.
Wow, per.
Mm-hmm. I got them separately.
I mean, I didn't know if you were adding
2 years apart. Oh, if I was summing, no.
Yeah, that's some Asia Wealth stuff, I tell you.
They are a precious breed.
Okay, all right.
Tell me another Malshipu you know.
Oh, don't come at me. Okay. I just think it's so funny. This is like he offered $10,000 to buy Hank.
Yeah,
I do wonder.
That just shows how well off Clint is, because he wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
And 2, it shows how much of an impression Hank has made on him, which is so sweet.
He has to save Hank from Gina. Clint knows Gina's going to be in the salon. Hank's not getting the attention that he needs.
Does Hank go to the salon?
He probably does. I would imagine he might.
He's probably a good boy.
She probably got him a service animal vest or something.
Yeah. I can imagine him in the salon just walking around saying hey to everybody. But yeah, that's the best thing that came out of this relationship was him and Hank.
For real. Clint, says, I hope I can stay in Hank's life because, I really love that dog. Gina says, well, I'm really open to that since we have no hard feelings toward one another. Cal says, this might be the most civil divorce we've ever seen. I said, Kristen and Mitch left the decision day hand in hand. What are you talking about? Now it got bad after that, like right after that, but they left it hand in hand.
It's like Pastor Cal has forgotten the fact that like he's thinking of just like ultimately where did they end up?
Yeah, maybe.
Rather than like what happened on decision day is probably a blur for him. He has so many decisions to get through.
In a confessional, Gina says, this has been life-changing. She's coming out of this a whole different person and knowing more about herself. Cal does ask them, are you going to continue to be friends? They both say, oh yeah, for sure. I think if it wasn't for Hank, Gina would never talk to Clint again.
Yeah. She strikes me as the person who would probably get on an empty elevator with Clint and like she'll give him like a polite smile and then
turn to a corner with her phone, just like
yes, yeah. That's it.
In a confessional, Clint takes a drink and he says, tastes like sweet failure. He says, ultimately, failure is just a building block, and he will take this into all his future relationships. I feel like Clint stole that champagne because that champagne is only for winners, Clint.
Yeses. Yeah.
It's only for yeses. He stole that champagne and was taking swigs out of it.
Right. I was like, they were acting so like amicable that I thought they might as well pop the champagne.
Yeah. The previews I think were probably the most interesting for Clint and Gina, and it revolves around Hank. They want to make us feel like that Clint is going to try to get custody of Hank.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all just a weird editing and weird tricks, just to make us think that. But Clint does go on. Actually, it feels like Clint's going to go on a couple dates. We see one possibly with Dom, and then we see him going out with someone named Nicole, not of Chris and Nicole, but a different Nicole, And guess what they're doing, y'all? They are disc golfing. Can we get a cameo from Chris from Boston to
Right.
teach disc golf to Clint and his date? But I feel like Clint is probably pretty well versed in disc golf. It seems like a Clint
Yeah.
activity.
It absolutely. They probably cross paths in the
Yeah.
disc golf
And
world.
then and what was it called? NEFA? In the NEFA league, they probably cross paths with each other. They're probably big rivals or something.
Right.
And we do see the Clint and Mac kind of
Mac
date.
and Gina went on a date.
Did I say Clint and Mac?
Yeah.
The Gina and Mac date. The well foreshadowed Gina and Mac date. We'll see how that goes. But I don't know.
I think it'll be interesting to see her with somebody who is interested in her.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if her like behavior will switch up or how she'll be.
Yep, and we do see the infamous Clint and Dom kiss.
And it went on longer than I thought in the
preview. Look, we had a different angle as well. Like there were a couple cameras that shot it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was a long kiss.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We do see Hank. Looks like Hank and Clint outside of a courthouse, which makes us again think that Clint's going to try and fight for custody of Hank. Like, yeah, we're outside of the whatever county courthouse. Like, what are y'all doing?
See, what I'm thinking is, so they showed us with Gina on FaceTime with somebody talking about, with possession is 90% of their battle or something like that.
Yeah.
What they're probably talking about the salon. Something probably happened at the salon that she's having to talk to somebody like a lawyer about. I don't for one second think that Clint is actually stealing Hank.
No, of course not. Of course not. That would be hilarious though if he was. But I don't think we're gonna get that lucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is. I did see like in the previous scene, like there's a boys hangout and a girls hangout, and it also looked like Eris was with Duchess in their preview.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they together?
I don't know.
Oh man.
I highly doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah, let's see. The Facebook group has a nice little picture from Chanel Hunter of Clint and Hank with some hearts around it. But I'm trying to see the Facebook results for Clint and Gina, which were, but we had 85% of people said that they would both say no.
Yeah.
There is, I'm not voting for that. One person, it keeps making me vote. I'm trying to see. Well, one person, okay, there we go. 0%, but one person voted for Clint saying yes and Gina saying yes. And then 3% of people, which was only 5 votes, voted that Clint would say yes and Gina would say no.
Interesting. No world where Clint said no and Gina said yes.
Oh, there was an option added by Susan Pazzolanti, where Clint says yes and Hank says yes.
That looks like they got a few votes.
Yeah, 13 votes, 9% of the vote.
Nice.
And then of course we both guessed that they would say no.
I mean, that was pretty obvious.
Given. So last but not least, the couple where we got 50% of the decision, Kirsten and Shaq. So they're waking up. It's their last day together or it's the day Shaq heads out because it's the day before decision day. So Shaq is packing. They agree it's been, it's nerve-wracking. The decision day is tomorrow.
Did you catch? Shaq says it's been nerve-wracking. I said nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And then Kirsten said the same thing. She said, yeah, it has real nerve-wracking. I was like, nerve-wracking? What country stuff y'all on?
They are in Nashville.
Y'all incepted each other with this nerve-wracking stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it is real nerve-wracking. I said, okay. All
right. So Kirsten says as humans, they just start, like, they would naturally start to doubt things. And he says he would say no on decision day if he wasn't at 100%. And she's like, well, like, what percent are you at? He's like, I don't know what percentage I'm at. She's like, so you think you could say no?
That felt like they talked and they both said they're going to say yes. Now he's changing it up. She's like, wait, what?
Right. Wait, this is a possibility. She's like, if you say no, I'm gonna just walk out. He's like, oh, so you're saying like your answer is a yes. She's like, well, I'm not. She's like, no, I'm not at 100% either.
Production said you cannot say what your decision is right now. You have to say that you're still thinking on it. She's like, no, I'm still thinking on it. I have to.
There's the Spider-Man meme. I'm not 100%.
No,
No,
I'm not
I'm not
100%.
100%. So we get a confessional from her. She says she's finally gotten comfortable with him enough to let her guard down, and she just doesn't know if they have what it takes to make a marriage work. And he hugs her and kisses her goodbye. And
I said, if this is a no, this is a real kissy and cutesy no. I said,
it's like most affection we've seen from them.
Yeah, for real. I said, how could this be a no?
Yeah. Then they hug again at the door, and she keeps saying, don't go, don't go. And he starts laughing, and she's like, why are you laughing? And he's like, you're being very dramatic.
So cutesy. I was like, oh my God.
It's like, this is a side of them that we have not seen. Mm-hmm. Like, we know they've consummated their marriage, but they just haven't been all lovey-dovey like this. So we do get like a recording of him saying like he doesn't know what his heart is telling him to do. But then once we get to decision day, he's still at home. He's like, at his own place or wherever. He woke up with good spirits, knowing that God will direct his path. He wants to be 100% in his heart, that he is making the right decision.
He said, God's going to direct my path. As he's putting on his suit, I said, did God direct you to that suit as well?
I was going to ask you, what did you think about his suit?
Lord, did he make that suit? That was crazy.
A lot of color blocking. Like I wore a button-down shirt similar to that, not as bright, very like more like pastel colors. But like if I had pants that were like that, that would have been like a statement. Like, oh, is this Aysha has a podcast? Like, why is she wearing this?
I was like, what in the world? Where did he pull this out of? I mean, we know Shaq likes to sell. Did he make this himself? Because who in their right mind would sell this in a store?
He was like, this was his statement outfit for sure. And so we get a recording from her. She's like, she knows, like walking in, she's gonna be very nervous, and she's hoping it's gonna be a great day for both of them. So we get to Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, and Dr. Pepper is impressed with them. And Pastor Cal says that, Kirsten went from being not attracted to him to seeing his worth. And Dr. Pepper says that she feels like they've truly grown together, which is funny because remember last time they talked to them, they were like, are we growing separately? Or are we growing together? We get the voiceover from Dr. Pepper describing their relationship. She says, if he can carve out quality time and she can support him, they can be the power couple that they truly are. So yeah, his suit, it was red, yellow, and blue. So
there was a purple in there as well, I think.
Maybe the somewhere blue is what was purple.
You gotta fix that TV.
She had on a blue dress, right?
Yes, because he even commented like, "Oh, I like that blue on you."
Yeah. And we get a confessional where he's saying like he's really worried about if the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, it was red, yellow, blue, and some purple in there too.
Oh.
My gosh. I'm trying to get a good picture of it so I can show on the podcast. But keep talking.
So when she walks up, they do kiss. So it's like, okay, things are looking good.
Yeah, he gets a really plants one on her like real fast. Hey, hug, nice kiss. I'm like, okay, this seems to be going well.
Right. So then Pastor Cal asks, like, what are your best memories together? And he says the wedding.
Like the wedding, the first thing y'all did?
Before you knew anything about her?
All right, I'm going to show this on the podcast. It's not going to be good.
That's colored like my TV.
If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see a little bit of it. But yeah, it's not a good picture at all.
Put it in front. Is your camera's trying to focus on you and did you leave it already?
Put it in front of what?
Put it in front of your face. Like in front of the camera, but so that the camera is not trying to focus on you. Closer, closer, closer. There we go. Right there. So now y'all can see one red. You got the red pant, the blue pant. Is his shirt white at least?
I
Yeah,
think his
right.
shirt is white. Yes.
Okay.
Somebody says Shaq in his Technicolor cream coat. I'm on Twitter where this is at. Someone says Shaq want to be the ringmaster at Universe Soul Circus so bad.
Oh my god. Maybe he wanted to make sure no matter what color she was wearing, he was gonna match her.
I guess I just cannot understand the reasoning behind that.
Yeah. And so he said the wedding, which is kind of odd. And then he said also recently we sat down and watched TV and we were just like relaxing together, and that was great. Y'all could have been doing that all 8 weeks. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like is this the
He said
only...
that like it was a one-off.
I had the one day I had off in this 2 months. We sat down and watched TV and I really enjoyed it.
Right. He didn't say it like, oh, I enjoyed the day-to-day, like the simple pleasures of doing something like this. He said recently we sat down and watched TV together.
It should have been week 1.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah, you could enjoy that all the time if y'all were doing that often. If you were, I guess, I don't know, home from work after work or something. I don't know.
I mean, we know he comes home from work and just ignores her, just walks in the other room. So maybe she convinced him one day to sit down and watch TV. He's like, you know what? I actually like this. It's actually pretty good.
I really didn't think I would, but I do.
I really didn't think I would enjoy spending time with you watching TV, but you know what? It's not bad.
This has surprised me.
You're less annoying when I have something else to focus on.
She says one of her favorite parts was when they went to church. I don't know if she's talking about
church. We went to an empty church and did nothing.
I'm like, are you talking about that one time y'all went when no one was there? Y'all have been to church, like together during an actual service. She also says when he met her dad and her family, because it went really well.
I was surprised Shaq to interject like, when I finally met her dad.
Yeah.
After so long.
Right. And then this is actually reminding me, during Nicole and Chris's section, did you notice how when they said yes, Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper didn't react?
No, I didn't notice that. Is that because
it was just like, it wasn't just like oh yes, like they physically have reacted before, but this time they just kind of looked at him, and then Pastor Cal looked at Dr. Pepper to like respond, and Dr. Pepper was just like, well, you guys, like, this is great, da da da. It was like, where's the celebration?
It's like, yeah, we knew there's no excitement here for us. It's pretty obvious.
We've been new.
maybe they, in the time this was filmed, maybe this was right after they're both no couples, and they were just so drawn, they're just so dragged out and so drained. They're just like, that's good.
Yeah, thanks. Finally.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So then Dr. Pepper asks like what they're still struggling with. And he says it's been a challenge for him to be the leader because she's a strong, independent woman who knows what she wants out of life.
To this, she looked at him like, boy, what the hell are you talking about? Where did that come from? She's so strong and independent. Ew, gross. Who wants that? Who would want a strong and independent woman? I need someone who's going to be subservient, that's going to be where I tell her to be, when I tell her to be there. And
my problem with this frame of mind, or this mindset, and because this isn't an unpopular opinion. There are so many millennial men out there who think just like Shaq is in this moment. Trust me. And to think, oh, I want somebody who is just like, just will submit to me and or needs me. Like, if you like, what can I do for you if you have all of this stuff, right? But does he expect Kirsten to just be waiting at home? Like, okay, I'm just going to be waiting on the side of the road, waiting for my husband to come. How is she supposed to survive life to this point if she weren't doing her own thing. You weren't around more than 8 weeks ago.
She is too strong-willed. She has a career. Can you believe that? A career.
She is not available when I need her to come support me when I go to work.
Your career need to be popping out my babies. That's what your career need to be.
It's so annoying.
That was really crazy. And I didn't even think about it until afterwards. I was like, did he just say that? She's too strong and independent. I can't be a leader in the household because she's too strong and independent.
She is so strong and independent. What I'm gonna do with that? How can I step up?
How's that going to benefit me?
Oh, it's so annoying. It's just like this constant dialogue of just like guys feeling like it just know, y'all out there that are not single, Shaq is not an anomaly. This mindset is running rampant, and it's exhausting. Because I don't know what these men expect single women to do. They just stay at home with their parents.
We get a little off track.
No, this is now a pop culture podcast.
I understand this is something that you are dealing with, but this is a very first time podcast.
I'm bringing it back, okay?
We'll come back around to Shaq Kirsten. Don't worry, I'm getting there.
What does Shaq expect Kirsten to do?
What does someone like Kirsten, a strong, independent, career-focused woman who may or may not live in Texas, who may or may not have 2 wonderful dogs, what is someone like that supposed to do with guys like Shaq in the real world?
I'm just saying.
Just getting a little personal.
It was hard to write this down because I was just like,
You're fuming. You were fuming. Your keyboard was ready to crack because you were typing so angrily.
Oh my goodness.
This mother. Every Shaq in your notes starts with an MF. This MF for Shaq said.
He all of a sudden doesn't know how to lead his household.
This chauvinistic, misogynistic jerk, Shaq says.
Didn't he even at one point say that she was too domineering?
She's too dominant, was what he said. Which
okay.
To all of us is like, since when? What?
I felt, yeah, it was just, that was just so annoying to hear that his single view.
Did it annoy you? I couldn't tell.
No, I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah.
It's like this so just like small-minded view of relationships to think that if I can't fall into the role that I think I'm supposed to fall into when it comes to relationship, then what does a relationship do for me? Rather than thinking like, you're finding a partner in life, you're finding someone to do life with, to enjoy life with, to build a family with. And all of a sudden, because she's too independent and strong, it's just like, where do I fit in? What am I supposed to do in this relationship?
That's not a wife. Strong, independent.
And because it's so annoying because it came on the heels of we sat down and watched TV, and that was like a really great moment. That's what you should be doing in a relationship.
Yeah.
That is what Kirsten means when she says like she wants
quality
you to prioritize
time.
The relationship.
I want to spend quality time. That quality time doesn't have to be getting deep into a relationship. That quality time is hanging out on the couch watching TV. That's what Kirsten means. And he's all like, quality time? Why do I spend quality time with you? I'm out there working. I'm bringing home the bacon.
Exactly. So
you be happy with the time that we sit down and eat in silence. That's the quality time you get.
So yeah, this little minor comment from Shaq we'll just breeze past it.
Yeah.
Nothing much
Don't
to
want to spend,
say on.
don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Don't want to spend multiple minutes talking about it.
So Kirsten went. So this is the Dr. Pepper question about what they're struggling with. So Kirsten says their person.
In case y'all forgot where we were.
Kirsten says that their personalities are a little bit different. He's more emotional and sensitive. Before I go on, I appreciate her honesty because then
the boy is sensitive.
Then she says it's hard for her to care.
We know, Kirsten. We know. It's in your face every time he's talking to you.
Oh my gosh, clearly I couldn't contain my laughter at the moment, and I can't now. She legitimately said it's hard for me to care because when she's that way, when she's feeling emotional, she doesn't lean on other people. She's just like, Kirsten, get it together, you know what you need to do. So she's trying to figure out.
That's where my strongness and independence comes in, Shaquille.
She's like basically saying, when he gets emotional, why he need me to help him make him feel better?
Maybe that's why he feels so like she is so strong and independent, because she didn't get emotional like him. She's so strong and independent. She doesn't validate my feelings.
And the fact that she said this right after he said she's too strong and independent. I'm surprised he didn't say, look, that right there. That's what I'm talking about.
LeBron James being like,
yeah, exactly.
Right there.
Oh my goodness. So then Pastor Cal asked them, where do they see themselves, like, you know, as they go forward? And he's like, for me, the next level in our relationship. Did your show play that twice?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so mine, I need to get some things fixed, because mine said, it was like, he said, for me, the next level in our relationship. For me, the next level in our relationship. And I was like, did he just repeat himself or what? And I rewound it and I was like, no, his eyes did the same thing. It's like, why did that? Was this an editing error?
You need to call your cable provider.
Like, why did this glitch happen? So he said the next level in their relationship is to fall in love with each other. And which I thought, I was like, okay, that is interesting, because a lot of couples at this point who stay together are at that point.
That's true. I mean, not all of them, but I think probably a good majority, if they're a yes, have probably told each other they love each other.
Yes. Or you have the like, I love you, but I haven't fallen in love with you thing. Mm-hmm. So he says he wants to love her through thick and thin without even questioning it. And she says going forward, she just needs them to improve their communication skills. She's like for the Memphis trip, that was one of the toughest moments for her, because she didn't understand why he wanted her to travel with him to go to work.
I didn't know his sensitive soul was going to start crying because I didn't go to the Memphis trip.
Then she said the fact that he was hurt, that she felt like she let him down, and she never wants to let people down. And so that was the worst part for her, is like feeling like she let him down. And then Shaq says at certain times he just felt alone. Like he wants her to be a part of his world. And he says he showed up on a daily basis, but a lot of times he just feels alone.
I mean,
she's not at work with him.
Let's totally ignore the fact that Kirsten gave up time on her honeymoon to go with you to, where was it? Jackson or something?
Jacksonville.
No.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson,
Mississippi. Jackson, yeah.
Gave up time on her thing to go to listen. I don't know if she listened to him talk or whatever, to give his presentation.
In the hotel room when she recorded the footage for the show.
Yeah. So can we remember that? And I'm sure there's she hosted your mentees for you. Like, what? I don't understand where this need for her to be shackled to him at work events is. I'm not sure where it's realistic or where it's even really coming from.
It's almost as if he sees like his coworkers' spouses like tenured professors. Their like their wife comes with them or their husband comes with them, and he's like, that's what I want. That like what he's seeing, he's like, that's what I want. And it's like, this is these people, like they're in a different situation than you. Like you just, for one, you just got married. You didn't know her before you got married. It's going to take time. He wants to be at where you would be at 20 years into a marriage rather than where he is now. And it's like, he's trying to skip so many steps.
Yeah, we've talked about the pace before, where each of them had a very different pace. Shaq wanted everything right away, wanted, the kissing, the whatever right away, and she was not at that level. But I think, to me, her pace is more realistic than what his pace was. And by the time her pace got up to where his pace was, he was kind of checked out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's as if he thought, like, if I don't have it right away, then what's the point?
Yeah, I think so. He was resentful because she wasn't all about it right away, which I think is reasonable for Married at First Sight. Now, was her level of not here for it, saying that she wasn't attracted to the bald man, she refusing to even just kiss him at the altar that was a little much, but I think it's reasonable not to be all over someone the first day that you meet them.
Yeah. Look at Jamie Otis. If we have to go all the way back to season 1, she cried after she saw Doug.
Sat on the floor and cried in her wedding dress.
Cried. And they are still together, have 3 kids?
2 or 3 I think kids. 2, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like you do have to, it's like you have to give, and I know they said this word over and over and over and over.
Can I guess what the word is?
Yes.
You have to give grace.
You do. You just have to, because there's so many different factors in the situation. Yeah. Like Nicole pointed out when we saw it in their little recap, Chris did not choose her. So, which is the case every single season, that like the person is not choosing you. They're choosing you on decision day.
Right.
But they're not choosing you at the altar, because everybody says I do. Even Chris's Alyssa.
Yeah. So, even she said I do.
Yeah, even she said I do. So it's just like, you have to give your partner some grace in this situation, because it's just like, you have that to deal with. You have the filming. You both have never been on camera before. You're in this tight timeline. And it's just like all of these things to consider. So it's just like, you can't be mad that somebody doesn't want to just be all over you as if y'all have been in a relationship for years.
Yeah, but playing the devil's advocate, Kirsten was also the one that was talking about penis size before the wedding. Who was,
so are you saying she's heiress?
What do you mean by that? Well, not that
like
she's
she
heiress,
was all
but it's not as if
before.
Yeah, it's not as if she was this like prudish person before the wedding. She kind of just
she was thrown out by the fact that she wasn't initially attracted to him.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's definitely sensible, and I get that. As we had said, if Boris Kojo's bald self was down the aisle, she would have been all about it. But it was Shaq, and she said,
anybody.
Right, as she said in the package that she wasn't attracted to him at first physically, but through his character, which I don't know what character she's looking at, but through his character, she became more attracted to him and his genuine self, which is, sensible and reasonable. Whereas Shaq was like, I was all about it from day one, but over time, I was not about it because she took too long in his estimation.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't give her any credit for like all those things you pointed out earlier. No credit. He just focused on all of the negative, which I think I hope it's just like a pre-decision day thing if they do end up together. But we do get the decisions. Or her decision. So she goes first. She says he's had multiple things to focus on, and it hasn't been the easiest thing to do. She says it's been difficult to get on the same page, but he became that husband that she wanted, that comes home with flowers and chocolates and checked on her. So she says yes, she would like to stay married.
I was surprised that we got her decision. I thought they were going to leave both of the decisions till next episode.
Me too. Then we go to him. He says they showed up for each other. He appreciates, this is how he said it. He said, I appreciate both of us. for not giving up.
He has to give himself credit overall
Yeah.
over everything else. That's what we've noticed with Shaq.
Yes. He's not pulling a Clint and just accepting responsibility and moving on. He says at any time they could have just stayed in their own beds and like, hey, we're sleeping apart, but they didn't. And he said it's been difficult for him to step up and be the man and give her all the charms that life has to offer.
She made another face at this. She's like
what
the hell are you talking about? Like, as if he's referencing that Lamborghini comment that she made back in the open house, which I still contend was a majority joking comments. He's like, I can't give you all the things that you are demanding of me. She's like, what the heck are you talking about? I already have a Mercedes. What more do you need to give me? You dummy. So I just loved her expressions and her faces. It was just like telling us what she's like, what?
Because we rarely get that from her. She usually responds like Eris, and it's just kind of like,
I hear what you said.
Okay. So the episode ends right there. What I think, let's both give our prediction on what we think how he's going to finish this. I think he's going to, so he started saying, it's been difficult to step up and be the man and give you all the charms that life has to offer, but I'm willing to try, and I do want to stay married.
Yeah,
that's what I think he's going to say.
But I'm going to do my best to be the husband and man that can give you all those things. And so to do that, I would like to stay married to you so that you can serve me the way that you need to serve me as my wife. But yes, I do think that he will say he wants to stay married.
Yeah. I definitely, I think that they did too much in the previews to try to make us think that they didn't stay together. I'm like, why would you leave it on a cliffhanger if you're going to do all this?
And it wasn't even that convincing. It was like, she says, we can only go up from here. To me, that means they said yes, and they're going to go up from here. I think the show wants us to think that, oh, he said no, and he wrecked me. I guess I'm at my rock bottom. The only place to go up now is here. I didn't really get that.
She wouldn't say something like that.
Right, exactly. And I think he might even drop the L word because he's in a group setting. He says, I just said what was in my heart, which to me might mean he might drop the L word. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, I think that if we could go based on half the decisions last week, you said they would both say yes. Mm-hmm. I said Kirsten would say yes, and that Shaq would say no. So one of us is right next week.
The poll in the Facebook group was very split, actually. We had 35% of the people said that they were both going to say yes. 15% said they would both say no. 9% Kirsten no, Shaq yes, and at a whopping 41%, we had Kirsten yes, Shaq no. Okay. So the main two vote getters are both yes, and then Kirsten yes and Shaq no. They were pretty well up there, 35 and 41%. So most people think Shaq's going to say no coming up.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see. I guess they did do right, leaving on a cliffhanger, but I wouldn't have complained if we got his answer in this episode.
I don't see the need to drop us on this cliffhanger. It's really kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
They don't want us to think the season's over. They got to push us in so they can be like, look, we do have more after decision day. We're doing something different.
Aren't you so excited to see Shaq's answer? It's like, I mean, I guess, kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's because
is it the most riveting and suspenseful thing I've ever experienced? No, not at all.
Right.
But I mean, I'll be there because I'm there every week. So.
Right. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, besides those little red herrings, there wasn't really anything else for.
They showed Shaq hugging someone that was obviously Kirsten, but they had her back to the camera. I think that's pretty obviously Kirsten. Making us try and think that Shaq was on a date with some other lady, but
yeah,
I think that's Kirsten.
So yeah, that's Decision Day Part 1.
Part 1. I'm honestly surprised that we got to about 2 hours with this. I thought we were gonna come in and out in about an hour and a half tops. But I think our tangent into the millennial male attitudes gave us some content and some padding.
Yeah, I mean, it needed to be said.
It did. It really did.
They all want to hop on a mic. Let me hop on a mic
Hey,
and
that's what
say
we're
it.
here for.
Oh, so any updates from Married at First Sight UK?
No, haven't been able to watch it yet. So no MAFS UK minute this week. Sorry, y'all. I didn't want to let you down, but I didn't have time to get it in before this recording. But next week I should have some more content for you from Married at First Sight UK. So you have to
Good,
wait.
because I have a feeling that we will get Shaq's decision, and then maybe some random fillers that we're just like, why do we need to know that? Why do we need to see them go eat lunch?
Maybe, but I'm actually kind of excited to see what this brings, what kind of nonsense production is throwing in there, because like I said earlier, it feels like this is going to be the Where Are They Now special, where they just kind of contrive drama and nonsense to give us some content. So I'm kind of here for it. See what it's going to be.
Yeah, the only thing that I was kind of once I looked at the episode titles, I was thinking potentially the preview we saw is from the next 3 episodes.
Yeah,
Instead
that
of
could
just next
definitely
week.
be what is happening here, because that was a lot of stuff, and I feel like that would be a pretty jam-packed one episode if it was going to be a thing. Oh, and from the preview as well, we see Dom saying she's going to FaceTime with Gil.
Oh yeah, and then they showed Gil walking by his fire truck.
Can we leave Gil alone, please? I feel like we have a lot of Gil since his season. For someone that, was only in this for the marriage, not for the fame and be a reality star, he's been all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah. He did his fair share of Instagram lives after his season. And watch it just be like, I was in Houston, so I decided to hit up Gil.
Well, she says she just FaceTimed him. She has a FaceTime call with Gil.
Yeah, you can FaceTime somebody. Hey, I'm in Houston. What is there to do here?
Oh, well, I don't know about that. But I think it's
You
just
don't
like
FaceTime call people?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's not like they're going to be meeting in person. They're just FaceTiming. Like,
no, I'm saying like she's in Houston. Like, what is there to do? Like? I'm coming. Hey, I'm coming to somewhere, but not that we're gonna hang out. Just what do you tell me about your city?
I just wonder if it's going to be like a producer-driven like thing. Like, we had what was it? Olivia and Ryan a couple seasons ago were like just popped up in this Where Are They Now special to go on dates with these people randomly. It's probably something like that. They're just a casting stunt, a casting trick to like give us something to talk about. Like, you could talk to Gil. She's like, who?
And
Gil.
And then it didn't go anywhere because after they FaceTime, he was like, no, I'm okay.
Gil seems thirsty though. I think Gil was probably prowling these ladies before they even started filming this season. He's like probably got the lowdown from production. Gil just seems a lot thirstier than I remember him being, just from all the things I've seen of Gil.
I just don't feel like he would have any trouble finding someone.
You wouldn't think so.
But
I remember in his season you were trying to find him.
I'm not trying to find him.
Not anymore, but you were all about that season.
And you're right. After all the basically it was like after he's more out there than we thought he would be.
Yeah, because it seemed like he was like, oh, I'm not here for the cameras to be a reality star. I'm here to find my love of my life. And then I think it really turned at that reunion where he was. I mean, at the time, we were all Team Gil. But at the reunion, he was all boohoo and crying in his red, what are they called? Red bottomed, whatever, shoes. Where he was like, for some reason, that had gotten all like glammed up. And then he was all over social media after the season. It's like, maybe he's in for this more than just a marriage.
Yeah. And Mindy, I know she was hanging out with a lot of different people. She hung out with like Ryan from Houston. She hung out with Ben. But she is posted again with Steve from Boston. So I don't know if they're actually dating or what is going on there, but
they want to keep us guessing.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. I had to try one more.
You got that one right. I'll give you that one.
Where there's fire, there's smoke everywhere.
Where there's fire, there's smoke inhalation.
Where there's fire, there's Gil.
Yeah, because he's a firefighter.
So yes, thank y'all for sticking with us. We will be back next week to talk about Decision Day Part 2. Jason, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
I got some things going on. You can find me on Poster Recaps. Me and Sasa Joseph just wrapped up talking about The Power. Interesting show. Yeah, check it out if you're watching that show. Also on Poster Recaps, I'm talking about The Citadel with Marissa Garza. That show is not great, but listen to me and Marissa trash it. Also, recently on the podcast series Hit or Quit, that is hosted by Rob Cesternino and Jenny Autumn, I talked about Judge Steve Harvey, which was a very interesting experience. I do believe that podcast is probably coming out when you're hearing this. So go check that out as well. I had a lot of fun on that podcast with those who talk about that crazy, ridiculous show.
Speaking of Judge Steve Harvey, like my mom is obsessed.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Mama Welch, I don't know a show that she doesn't watch.
Yeah, I feel like I had to clear out my suggestions because it kept suggesting Judge Steve Harvey, and I was like, I'm like looking back at my watch history. I'm trying to make sure I'm not confusing judge shows, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Mama Welch just messed up your whole algorithm.
I know. Oh, and then of course, now that I'm looking, I don't see any Judge Steve Harvey's, but I'm pretty certain that's what she was watching on my Netflix, or not my Netflix, my YouTube. So there's an audience out there for it.
Oh yeah, it was a fun show. I would suggest it actually if anyone wants to. It's just a dumb fun time.
Done fun.
Yeah, done fun.
So yeah, y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Most recently, so Big Brother Canada wrapped up. I was on the finale podcast that we recorded live in Toronto, so that was really fun. I believe I also have not recorded anything else recently, but like I said at the top of the podcast, The Ultimatum, Queer Love, is coming out next week. We will have a special third co-host. Sorry, it is not Jason Reed, but it is somebody who will have, I can't wait to podcast with them. I think it'll be really great. And yeah, I will be in New York next week for the Survivor finale. So if you'll be at that watch party for Bryson Wynn, let me know. I will be there.
Don't remind me. I can't go.
Yeah, I know. I wish you could. I'm coming as close to your area as possible.
I know. Ridiculous.
But I'm very excited for the Survivor finale. And yeah, if you want to know what I'm up to, just follow me on the socials and you will see. So yeah, we will be back next week. Make sure you go join the Facebook group, A Perfect Match Podcast. The password is Show Me How Good Today Can Be. And we will be back next week. Bye.